Happy Tuesday, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us in UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. I am Maya Engel, thankful to be inside our digital studio where we have air conditioning and it is nice and cool because it's a hot one out there and it is humid. So for more on that, let's bring in Joe from the Storm Team Weather Center. And Joe, we're going to see this hot, humid weather stick around for the rest of the week, or will we get any relief anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. So if you like this summer weather, because in February we're going to be like, remember those days?
Yeah.
It's going to stick around for a few more days at least. By the way, Maya has a big decision to make. And I'm going to ask our viewers to comment if they want. Maya doesn't know I'm doing this. Maya's debating getting a cat.
Yes.
She is. Not sure. A lot of pros and cons to it, both. If you think she should get a cat or not, let her know. She's torn.
And to give you some context, the reason why I'm a little on edge is because I do have a dog. So I want to make sure that the cat and my dog would get along and that the cat wouldn't try to scratch my dog too much or anything like that. So, and I'm also worried that my dog would try to get into the cat's litter box. And I'm afraid that my dog would eat the cat food, the cat would eat my dog's food. So I have a lot of concerns. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. But
any input for our viewers would be helpful.
I will accept any input.
All right, I'll be back later with weather.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Well, let's turn over to one of our stories from actually not today, but yesterday. It's a pretty interesting one. So the first ever fully automated ADA compliant bus in the entire country is making its way to Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. So the bus will run along the 7 miles of the Pier Stocking Scenic Drive, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, while also stopping at the multiple stops along the scenic drive. And the company that built this bus, they specialize in automated vehicles, hoping to provide more sustainable and accessible forms of public transportation everywhere, including national parks and national lakeshore. So the company did receive a $250,000 grant from the National Park Service Mobility Challenge Program, which is in partnership with the Biden-Harris administration. And the bus will be coming to the National Lakeshore in August. And at first, it'll just be a test run. But this story prompted our question of the day, which is, would you feel comfortable riding in an automated vehicle? Overwhelmingly, a lot of people right away are just saying no. 93% nope, 7% yes. And you can scan that QR code on your screen to vote right now. Looking at some of our Facebook comments for this question, Gina, the first comment that comes up, she says, do it all the time at airports. It's kind of a good point, Gina. Jordan says, automated vehicle on a track, sure. Automated free roaming, absolutely not. A lot of no's, some absolutely not, a heck no, a nope, no thanks. Sure, but only if near a functioning emergency exit. So yes, the comments definitely reflect the results of this poll. 93% of people saying no. A lot of comments on our Facebook post are just backing that up. So again, you can scan that QR code to vote, and you can also comment on our Facebook post or on this live stream. We will come back to our question of the day a little bit later, but let's turn things over to one of our top stories of the day. And this is actually an update from a story that we first told you about yesterday. So bones were discovered at the Grandview Parkway construction site. Now, Traverse City Police say those bones are potentially centuries old. And what we know now is we know there were human bones, and we now know that there was possibly more than one body buried there. And pieces of pre-modern nails and wood were also found that could indicate a coffin. So our Ellie Baxter was at the scene today. She talked with investigators to find out what the next steps are in this investigation.
Anything that's happened.
Sean Miller does a job that a lot of people have heard of, but not many know is a hired role for a state agency.
I've been doing transportation archaeology for 18 years.
Because of a federal law called the National Historic Preservation Act, all federal agencies need to do a cultural study before implementing programs. In the case of the Grandview Parkway project, the Michigan Department of Transportation is funded by the Federal Highway Administration, which is why people like Sean are employed by MDOT.
Before we can do any sort of transportation projects, we conduct archaeological reviews and also look at the above ground environment. So we're looking at historic buildings and historic downtowns and cemeteries, historic bridges. All of these things get taken into account for historic preservation.
Sean explains the goal is to find areas where human bones or anything human associated would be and try to avoid impacts to them before construction starts. How many times has this happened where you've been called out?
This is the first time I've been called out where the bones have actually been determined to be human.
After the discovery of human bones by construction workers, Sean loaded up his truck and drove the 3 hours to Traverse City.
The remains were under US 31, about 4 feet below the road. There is nothing in my archaeological toolkit that could help me identify those remains. The only way to find them would be through mechanical excavation.
Sean can't speculate about the discovery because it's still a fresh investigation, but he says his hope is
the remains will come back to Traverse City and be placed in Oakwood Cemetery, where we have some historical documentation where other remains from this location had been relocated to in the late 1800s. So if we could keep the whole group together in one place, that would be the best outcome, in my opinion.
And Allie is joining us once again live. This time she is live at the scene of where these bones were discovered on the Grandview Parkway project. Allie, thanks for joining us again on Unscripted.
Thank you so much, Maya. It's awesome to be back again, and this time actually outside at the site as well. We wanted to be out here yesterday. Obviously, some severe weather stopped that for us, but we are hoping to give you guys a live look tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this camera around. So we're across the street right now just because this area is still open for traffic. So there have been some cars coming through. But right across the road right here, you see a lot of disturbed like mounds of dirt over there. And there's this little baby tree over there in between. That is where investigators, that's where MSP, that's where our MDOT archaeologist was working yesterday. They were sifting through the dirt to figure out if there were any more bones. Obviously, they did find more human bones. Probably they are speculating right now that it could be more than 2 bodies out there. So that is what they are telling us right now. It is actually kind of along Bay Street. North Oak Street is down this way. So, but construction, it's business as usual out here, Maya. I mean, Elmer's is working really hard. It just seems like they are ready to get back on schedule.
So since they found everything that they think they're going to find, they're able to just continue construction.
Yes, and they are very confident as well. That's what investigators were telling us this morning, that they are confident. Like, they would not have stopped digging if they felt like there was more to find. They said they actually kept digging for a while, even further, deep and wide, to make sure that they did get everything. And they said they went a while without finding any more bones. So they were really confident that they did get everything that was still here.
So pretty interesting update today that it is indeed multiple bodies and they are probably centuries old, but there's still a lot of unknowns. And I know one thing that many people have been wondering is, could it be possible that there is a Native American burial ground there? Do you have any updates on that?
Yes, because that is something that we had included in our story yesterday. We went to the library and we saw some of the archaeological sites that have been documented in Michigan. And there was once a village, and there was also indicated that there was a burial ground right along the west arm of the bay. So was it a possibility? Potentially, but they are pretty sure that what they found on scene does not indicate that. Something that we don't know everything that they found, but something that we were told before in terms of what they look for here to be able to really determine those things. They're looking for what's surrounding some of those remains. So that could be, wooden buttons. It could be a coffin, stuff like that. So we know that some of those things would indicate that it would be either not as old as they think it is, or that it wouldn't have been a Native American burial.
So then where does this investigation go from here?
So the investigation from here, right now they are working in conjunction with Western Michigan and their forensic anthropologists. We tried to get in touch with them today, but of course, because they were out here all day working, they were not in the office today to answer some of our questions. We're gonna hopefully make contact with them soon, because we wanna know, what do we know as we go from here? We know that the MDOT archaeologist said that he would really love for the bones eventually to make their way back to Oakwood Cemetery. There has been some speculation that there may have been an old cemetery here, because before Oakwood Cemetery in Traverse City was created, this is potentially a place where people were buried. And we know that because some people were actually relocated to Oakwood Cemetery once it became a place. So that is kind of some of the working theories right now of why they are finding human bones here. That could be the case, and that hopefully they are able to be given a proper burial somewhere else.
Anything else you want people to know about this update today?
Yeah, I would say that, everything is still pretty fresh in the investigation. We were really lucky to be able to talk with this NDOT archaeologist about what he does, because this is still so fresh in the investigation. They want to be careful that they're not saying anything 100% confident that this is definitely what it is. So it was really great to be able to talk to him and just see, what they are looking for, what they do use to date this. And I thought something really interesting that he had told me was, I get called out a lot to sites when they find bones just to make sure that it isn't human in any way. And he said this is the first time he's been called out and it actually was human bone. He's like, normally it's a deer or something like that. And people are just trying to be careful, or it's a cow or it's an animal of some kind. But this is the first time he said I've come out and it is actually human bone.
So yesterday, people you talked to said it's not uncommon to find bones in construction sites, but according to Sean, it's pretty uncommon for them to actually be human bones.
Yeah, it is pretty uncommon for it to actually be human bones because, especially if it is like a state affiliated project, he would be one of those people out here looking for those things. And he said, this is the first time I've come out and it is actually human.
Wow. All right, Allie, thanks so much for joining us for this update. And I look forward to your future updates on this pretty bizarre story, but we really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Maya.
Thanks. And before we take our first break, we have one more story that we have been working on today. So, a couple in Antrim County reached out to us for help after their property flooded, and they say it was due to road work gone wrong. So, the owners of a Torch Valley Farm in Ellsworth say they're worried that their business, it's going to keep the business that keeps the farm running is going to be impacted by this flooding. So our Up North Live's Daniel Zivian was at the scene to see exactly what the situation is, and he also talked to road commissioners to try to get some answers.
About 5:30, we started getting water, and I thought, oh boy, here it goes. Sure enough, I went back at 6:30. Now we are flooded. Very chaotic.
The Torch Valley Farm has taken on water before. Kathy Russell says she knew a culvert replacement was needed and on the way.
The pond has been backed up from beavers and from being rusty and old, and it needed to be replaced. Everybody would agree with that.
Kathy says the culvert was being removed, but a temporary barrier was no match for the rushing water. Kathy and her husband Robert called the Antrim County Road Commission to ask what could be done.
And he just told me I needed to upgrade our culvert. Then he backed down and he kind of realized, well, once this water clears, we'll fix any of the damages. But we don't know when that water will clear because that pond will probably drain because there's nothing stopping the pond from draining at this point in time.
The flooding is right on top of a horse trail and outdoor arena. Until it's drained, Kathy can't put her horses out there or hold her usual lessons.
It's what keeps me in business, and it affects everything I do, how I do it. Like everything had to be changed this morning. It can be changed, but it comes at a cost. Every single Wednesday night, there's 6 of us that ride outside, and that's $50 a pop. So that tells you right there what we lose.
I spoke with engineer manager Bert Thompson on site. He reiterated that the water would take time to drain, saying, quote, "A slow release on the pond didn't go according to plan. We are working to make sure everything is right with the property owners." In Antrim County, Daniel Zivian, UpNorthLive News.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll check in with Joe for more on your forecast. Stick around. Welcome back to Unscripted, everyone. Let's bring back in Joe. And at the beginning of the show, Joe, you talked about my indecisiveness about getting a cat. I did get an email from Terry, who was saying that Terry has 2 dogs and 3 cats, and gave me a lot of advice on how to have cats with the dogs.
Good.
We did get some feedback. I'm looking for more if anyone has any other tips. But anyways, let's turn things over.
We'll get you some advice, Maya. We'll get you some advice.
Yes. Yeah, so I do appreciate you saying that. But it was a really hot day today, and I think that was a big weather story.
Some other advice: keep the sunscreen nearby the next couple days. If you look at our camera here, and this is just outside of our studios, Maya, it just looks warm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Because it is. It's 86 degrees. Also, I pointed this out in our 6 o'clock news on the NBC side of things, but if you look at the sky there, it is a little more whitish. That there is some smoke well overhead from wildfires out west and up in Canada. So a little bit of that is drifting through. So that's why, again, it's not quite as blue out there. Not a lot of rain today. We had, quite a bit of rain yesterday. Some spots are on the extreme end, so almost 5 inches of rain yesterday. We've had a few showers here and there, a couple earlier right up here in the UP. So there's around Cedarville, Hessel, that little lone shower there, that lone ranger crossed I-75 there in Mackinac County, but that has since fizzled out. And then if you're over in Alpena, we had a few showers right over town and then south of town, down again toward Maya's hometown of Ossineek. But those also diminishing. But if you look upstream across northeast Wisconsin, north central Wisconsin, right here, there are a few showers and thunderstorms. These may hold together, and if they do, as we look at Stormcast, you might see later tonight. See that right there? That's 11, 12 o'clock, 1, 2. A couple of these showers may work their way in later tonight, and then hang around a little bit through tomorrow. So there is that chance for a few showers tomorrow morning, early to mid-afternoon, right there. And then perhaps a pop-up shower storm down around the Tri-Cities, down there around Saginaw. But also tomorrow, and this is so typical in summer, a lot of dry time, lots of blue sky out there as well. Thursday, low pressure will pass or approach from the south, but I don't think a lot of impact from that during the day. We will see some increase in clouds, though, Thursday. Quick picture, I want to show you this. This is this morning over the Carp River near Mackinac City. A little bit of the Northern Lights was out. Patrick sent this in. Nice picture there, and it's possible tonight, even a better chance. So, again, a partly cloudy sky. So look low on the northern horizon. You need to be away from city lights tonight, but there is a G2 to G3 level storm levels tonight, so possibly the northern lights visible. If you're wondering about humidity, the mugginess, that's going to stick around for a few more days. It does drop a little bit as we head into Saturday, and there's our extended forecast. Hot weather, especially, tomorrow and Thursday, very warm to hot. We get into the weekend, it cools down a little bit on Sunday. Overall, we should see a pretty nice weekend coming up, maybe a couple showers south on Sunday. So warm, kind of muggy weather hanging around, Maya. That's kind of the name of the game here, at least the next couple of days.
Hey, at least we know it's coming so we can prepare. Yep. All right, sure. Thank you, Joe. We're going to take another quick break, but in just a few minutes, we'll check in with our sports director to see what's going on in the sports world this Tuesday evening. Stick around. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Let's check in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe. And when we saw you yesterday, Harrison, your voice was a little rough, but today it's better. So that's the
So you
good news.
saw me, but you didn't hear me, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. But
All
you sound
5 senses, they're key to broadcasting, key to doing a good broadcast, that's for sure. Yeah, things are a little better today, and it was a busy day. I can't remember Maya being more busy frantically editing a script before a 6 p.m. newscast than I was tonight for the MLB trade deadline. And usually that's not the case because the trade deadlines a lot of times are at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that stuff's kind of all settled well before news time. Nope, the MLB had theirs at 6 o'clock today. And some major Tigers were traded at the last minute, knowing you and your phone alerts. I'm sure you probably know who I'm talking about. But for those at home who don't, Jack Flaherty is one of the top Tigers starters in the rotation. He is now going to the LA Dodgers in exchange for a few prospects. And right after the deadline, news trickled out that Mark Canha, the Tigers outfielder, first baseman, hybrid player, also on the move. He's going to the San Francisco Giants. And the uniqueness for those, I know a lot of people were kind of maybe hoping they'd keep Flaherty because of how great of a pitcher he's been. They're both basically rentals. Their contracts are up at the end of the year. So depending on what they were thinking for the offseason, maybe Scott Harris, the Tigers GM, was told as such that they're going to pursue other options. They're going to strongly look at other teams. So maybe they thought, hey, might as well get something for them now because odds are they're not going to stick around to be Tigers. I think most Tiger fans will be happy that the club kept Tarek Skubal in the lineup and the roster because I think that's the fan favorite amongst all Tiger fans as far as the future of the franchise. He's so young. His numbers are phenomenal. So he's still a Tiger, but Flaherty, Mark Canha, and Andrew Chafin was traded, the reliever, the guy with the curly hair and the mullet. You know, he's kind of a fan favorite as well out of the bullpen. He's gone as well. He's going to the Texas Rangers for 2 pitching prospects.
Wow. Well, I'm happy that Tarek Skubal is staying, and I know, like you said, I'm sure a lot of other Tigers fans are. But and then of course it was a big day for the Olympics, especially for the U.S. women's gymnastics team winning gold today in Paris.
They did. And Simone Biles, by winning her 8th medal, becomes the most accomplished USA gymnast ever. I think women's gymnasts, I assume women's gymnastics always been a little more dominant than men. So I think it's just any USA gymnast probably. She's got 8 medals total in the Olympic Games, which is a record for Americans in that sport at the Olympics.
She is so fun to watch, and the entire women's gymnastic team is so fun to watch. So,
and I was amazed when I asked you earlier, and you knew her age. I know she's been around for a while, but usually you hear these gymnasts are like teenagers,
really young.
early 20s. So she's 27 and still
still doing
now. So good for her.
Thing. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Harrison, so much. We need to take another break on Unscripted, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's take one last look at our question of the day. Would you feel comfortable riding in an automated vehicle? A lot of people, 93% say no, 7% say yes. You can scan the QR code to vote, or you can vote on our website, upnorthlive.com. But that'll do it for Up North Live Unscripted on this Tuesday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight on Up North Live News at 11. Take care, everyone.